because I was singing. I sang the entire second round. I was singing "Jesus Loves Me." Yes, I know. That's all I said. I couldn't even think. See what we y'all saw what we started with, and I think it's pretty cool how you can maneuver that steel, manipulate it like you want it, you know. Well, and so I hammered my bevels in, and I've already got it down pretty thin. In a chef knife, a legit real chef knife, the belly should be a little bit deeper, but I didn't have, and I should, you know, if I'd have had some 2-inch steel, I could have, but I didn't want to stretch it out any further to get too thin for quenching purposes, because I don't want to warp it. But it'll make a good kitchen knife. We got that little. It's not really the French chef knife style, and it's not really a K-tip that they call it. It's kind of mine. What we're gonna do next is we'll go to the grinder, clean up this profile, and it shouldn't take very long because I try to hammer as close to shape and all as I can, so that it eliminates a lot of grinding, because knife making, just like drumming, is expensive, and those belts, the more I use them, the more I have to replace them. So, but that's where we're going next. We're gonna go over there and get set up to start cleaning this up, and clean these bevels up just a little bit. Not gonna do too much because I don't want to go too much thinner, like I said, for when we decide to, when we get ready to quench. We're gonna drill our pinhole, go from there. So many steps to this process, and everybody wonders, why can't you build me, and why is there an 8-month waiting? Why can't you do it in
8 months?
Yeah, well, it's not. It don't take me 8 months to build a knife, but if you know, I've got so many to do.
Yeah.
But they've got this false representation of what it's about. The knife that I built for round 3, the knife and the tomahawk and booth, I only had 35 hours to build those. The last Damascus knife that I finished this week, I think I had 55 hours or so just in that knife. I've got a week plus overtime. Yeah. One knife. Shallow bevel on it and you got flats. Once you reach that point where that bevel stops, then it's not going to want to, you're going to have to force it on through to get through that thick spot. So we're going to go near about all the way to the spine with our bevel on this once we get to that point. But before we do the normalizing quenching, we'll drill some pinholes in it. And I hope that it's soft enough to do. Everywhere I don't need it.
I said I need one of these in my room.
Yeah. Everybody needs 1 or 2 of them. Or you like me, I got
7 or 8.
10 or 20. Alrighty. Now we're gonna sit and wait a little while longer. As far as classes go, I've never had a class. I would love to take classes, but everything I know up to this point is learned through doing it over and over and over again and failing and doing it again until I got it right. So yeah, classes are great, but it just wasn't ever in the cards for me when I was younger, and then I got married and had kids, and it really wasn't. So, yeah, self-taught, which is sometimes I think the best way anyway. You know. We don't work on this kind of schedule. started with. You see how that file is biting into it right there? It's because it's soft. This is a 65 Rockwell file. All right, now this is the same steel that we started with. And I'll show you on here. See how that's biting right there? Now, and I haven't cleaned all the forescale off yet, so, but you see the difference? It's hard. That quenching hardens it. And it is so hard right now. Once it goes below, the hardening process, I think, if I'm not mistaken, doesn't actually stop until after it gets around about 200 degrees or below. So, but we're at least 65 Rockwell right now. So, and that's what we want. We want that file to escape. We know that it's hard. Now we've got to temper it back so that we can relieve some of the stresses and brittleness that quench put in it, which allows us to have a good knife that it's hard enough to hold an edge, but you know, soft enough not to break and all that kind of good scientific mumbo jumbo way. We're going to temper. We're just cleaning up some of, I'm not trying to clean it like really great because we still got a long way to go before we get to that. I just wanted to clean it up where I could see that nice shiny steel, and I can kind of watch my colors as it's tempering. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go over here and clean it off really good, and when we put it in the well, we are getting close. Got to do that. On a normal day, I would have this going on while I was working on 2 or 3 other knives, you know. So,
and it's 2 cycles at an hour and a half?
Yeah, I do 2 cycles an hour. 1 cycle at 450, and I check it with my file to see where I'm at. And if I'm, you know, I can about 60 Rockwell, I'll do a second one at a 400 degrees for an hour and a half. The second cycle is not an absolute necessity. It's just something other that most everybody does. I like doing it mainly because it's what I learned. So it's a force of habit. And then from there we'll be ready to really clean the bevels up, get ready to get that edge, the cutting edge, and then we can attach handles and do all that hand sanding and all the fun stuff. So that's where we are. I'm a speaker, and I'm not a theologian, or I'm not a smart man as far as Gulf is, so I don't know how to word and say things. But you think about the process of what we're doing right now. You can't do what we're doing without fire. You can't do what we're doing without hammers. You can't do what we're doing without all of this stuff. And all of this, in my mind, you know, the Bible tells us that life is going to be full of trials and hard times and all that stuff. And I look at the process of hammering that blade out in that way. You know, it's a rough, harsh process, and which is just the same as the trials and the tribulations and the problems and the heartaches and all the things that we face on a daily basis. You know, it's the same thing. It's like putting you through the fire. All right, you know, and then once you get to that, you know, you get through this point, the same fire that went through that process of going through the hard times, you wind up using that same fire to finalize a process, right? It quenches it. It solidifies that blade as a blade at that point, right? You know, without all that process, you can't end up with a finished product, you know? And I kind of look at my life, my Christian walk daily, kind of the same way. The trials and the problems that I face make me, you know, if I stay where I'm supposed to be and stay in prayer and stay in my word, those problems can make you a better Christian. But without the problems, without the fire, you don't have what you're looking for, what you're shooting for. And just like a Christian, just because you get saved, just because you think you're where you're supposed to be, doesn't mean that life is just going to get easy. Because when you finish that knife that's in that oven right now, it's not finished. It's not finished. That knife from now on until it's no longer here, or if you pass it on to your grandchildren, that knife's going to have to be cared for. It's going to have to be maintained. It's going to have to be sharpened. That song, He's Still Working on Me to make me what He wants me to be. That knife from now on is going to need to be cared for. You're always going to be doing something to keep it sharp. And that's where we have to be. Just because you get saved doesn't mean life gets easy and okay, that ain't the way it is. Somebody that knows how to talk could make a sermon out of that. I can't having to go through whatever it is that we go through, and it's up to us if we allow that problem to make us better or make us go backwards. But it's just amazing to me, the process of bladesmithing and being a Christian, how many similarities there is in it. You know, what it takes to do either or is so, it's just never nothing that I thought, well, I mean, I don't know that anybody would want to pay me to teach them how to halfway do this, you know. But because of that, it's opened up avenues that has allowed me to do a lot. And like I said, not every class turns into a Bible study, but every class God's mentioned in some kind of a way. Because I want everybody, I want the world to know that if it wasn't for this hobby, this craft, and the good Lord Himself, I don't know that, you know, that I'd be standing here right now. I might be in prison or dead, because at one time I was not living any kind of a life that was, you know, worthy to be talked about. But this craft right here has pulled me through a lot. It's changed my life, and I want everybody to know what this and a good church and like-minded folks that's praying for you can do for you.